what's the deal with Bloomburrow? Bloomburrow is the next plane we're going to, and it is the plane where humans don't exist. As a matter of fact, not even just don't exist, they can't exist. We're getting a new treatment of Planeswalkers that are turned into animal folk. Liliana's a squirrel now, Ral is an otter, Jace is a fox. It's awesome, it's great. The whole thing here is, it's basically just like, wow, look at all the fancy, weird, not human people, like the bird people, and the rat people, and the lizard people, and the mouse people, and the rabbit people, and the bat people, and the otter people, and the squirrel people, and the raccoon people, and the frog. Bloomburrow is this very peaceful plane where everyone just lives happily except for the one big giant problem that is the calamity beasts, which are these essentially living natural disasters, and they lack the same amount of sentience that other animal folk here have. They're not really bipedal anthropomorphic animal people, they're more so just like actual animals but elemental and will cause problems by just simply existing. So the aesthetic of the set is actually, it's not Redwall or like Bambi. It's actually Monster Hunter. It's Monster Hunter, but with cute animal people side dish. It's what it actually is. Because their whole thing is, hey, these things like have to die. They gotta go. Card mechanics! Alright, we got Valiant, which is basically just Heroic 2.0 from all the way back in Theros block. Key differences is it is whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability, and Valiant only triggers once each turn, as opposed to Heroic, which triggered every single time you targeted them with a spell you controlled. Next up, we got Offspring. Offspring is a kicker cost you pay to a spell. Each spell has its own individual kicker cost, or offspring cost rather, you can pay as you cast it, and if you do choose to pay the offspring cost, you make a token of that creature as it enters, but it's a 1/1. Next up, we got Gift. Parting Gust here says you may gift a tapped fish as you cast this spell. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast this spell. If you do, they create a tapped 1/1 blue fish creature token before its other effects. So Gift is basically this optional extra effect you can tack on. Usually gifting someone something gives you an additional effect of some kind, or you can choose not to give them the effect to just have the card work differently. It's basically like having the card have two different modes you can choose from. The best comparison is probably Tribute from Theros, but that mechanic sucks because your opponent got the choice. So they always just got to choose what was best for them. But here it's you choose, so you get to choose what's best for you. Next up, we got Expend X. Expend is a ability that triggers whenever you spend the amount of mana associated with the expend value. For example here, Moira has Expend 4, so whenever you spend 4 mana, you get to gain 3 life. He also has another Expend trigger for Expend 8, where whenever you expend 8, you exile top 2 cards in your library, and until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. So expending 4 here is spending 4 mana at all in general during your turn, and the same thing for Expend 8, but just spending 8 mana during a turn. Expend can trigger on your opponent's turns. I'm not sure how on earth you're ever going to be able to spend 8 mana on an opponent's turn, but if you can, good for you. Next up, we got Forage. Foraging is a cost for an ability where in order to forage, you exile 3 cards from your graveyard or you sacrifice a food token. Forage is basically just escape, but with a set cost that never changes. So it's nice and easy to understand. Threshold comes back in this set, which is kind of insane to me. I really thought Threshold would have never came back because it was a little too easy and simple of a mechanic. But it's back, and the rats get it this time. The blue-black rats. So good for them. There's this new cycle of modal spells at Mythic that use these like weird new paw print currencies that only exist within each spell. You can't save up paw print currency. It's just you get 5 for each spell, and that's it. That's it. So don't be thinking you can do any weird like proliferation shenanigans, attract some players. No. Naughty. Classes make a return, but this time they're focused on like occupations and jobs, like blacksmithing and being an artist or something. That's pretty cool. Reminder, classes are enchantments that you level up to get progressively more and more effects as you put more mana into them. You cast them on level 1 and they get 1 effect. You pay mana to get level 2 to get an extra effect. And you pay more mana to get level 3 to get another effect. That's usually how it is. But of course, I guess they could go to level 4 in this set if they somehow find a way to fit enough text in there. You never know. Let's get into those card styles, huh? You got your basic everyday cards, or oh wow, look at this legendary bird. It's got the little legend crown, amazing. But then you also got the gold accented anime alternate arts. These barely even look like anime to me. That just looks like Bambi art style, but sure, whatever. Yeah, you got it. Anime, I guess. Sure. You can find these anime alternate arts in collector boosters exclusively, and there's also these fauna alternate treatments where each color is meant to be reminiscent of the kind of fauna you would see on a basic land. For example, Castrol here has got like white feathers and like fauna, flowers, and reeds and stuff like that on the white side, but the blue side has like cattails and just the stuff you'd see in a pond. We are getting a bunch of Imagine Critters showcase reprints of popular Planeswalker characters from Magic's past. We got Jace, Liliana, and Tamio all in this set, as well as Ral, and now they're all animal people. Jace is a fox, Liliana's a squirrel, and you can only open these in the Commander set. You know how there's always that like weird subset of cards within the set that are like, oh yeah, you can open them in your packs, but they're not actually standard legal? Yeah, that's where these guys are. There will be one Imagine Critter Planeswalker in each precon. However, we don't know which Planeswalker will be in each precon besides Tamio, who we know for a fact is in the Bant Commander deck from the set. There's all your special guests too, so you can open some fancy non-standard legal reprints in this set. We got Sword of Fire and Ice, and it's like a weird fish skeleton sword now, and an otter's holding it, and he's all like, oh, wow, that seems pretty cool. So have fun opening those. That card's like, what, 45 bucks now? Nice and needed reprint. Hopefully the price goes down. Might not. Have no idea. Commander decks! As with every standard set now, we have 4 commander decks. First up, we got Bloomburrow the Brambles. This deck wants to ramp into the aforementioned Calamity Beasts, casting a bunch of high mana value stuff to synergize with the set's expend mechanic. So it's just Gruul ramp essentially is what it is. And also Bellow turns your non-equipment, non-aura stuff into creatures that draw you cards. So that's always great. And they get protection too, so they're not going to die in combat either. Next up, we got Zinnia Valley's Voice. This deck wants to double up on enter battlefield effects, using Zinnia to give your creatures offspring, and then getting tons of benefits for having lots of small base power 1 creatures. So it's basically just a Jeskai ETB deck. Next up is Hazel of the Root Bloom, a squirrel commander that can give you so much mana. This is basically a squirrel kindred deck where you just play a bunch of squirrels and get tons of benefits for having said squirrels and just going wide. It's Golgari, Squirrel Kindred, ramp a lot, make lots of tokens, and get benefits for playing said squirrels. Easy, simple, tried and true squirrel deck. And then finally we got Miss Bumbleflower, a Bant commander deck that emphasizes on being group hug. When you cast spells, you can give opponents card draw and put counters on creatures, giving them flying, but then you get card draw if you can trigger that ability multiple times in a turn. So it's more so like mutual help. You help me, I help myself, because my commander is the one that draws me cards, not the cards I actually play. But yeah, you know, group hug commander deck, that's awesome. I don't think we've ever had one, unless you count Brina the Demagogue from Strixhaven, which I don't, because I think that deck was more so like kind of like weird politicky stuff and less so group hug. And that's everything. Pre-release begins July 26th. Go have fun.